Welcome to Used Bike Heaven. On this week's show, Billy Beaumont is in search of something with sporting potential. There's another used bike review, more advice on the used bike market, and we'll be meeting up with Gary in his workshop. This is Billy from Bristol. He's a 26-year-old and the proud owner of a Honda 600 Hornet. Today he's looking for something with a slightly more sporty image, but not necessarily in the super sports bike class. We're confident that we can satisfy him with one of our three bikes.
Hello and welcome to this week's Used Bike Heaven, and I have Billy with me. Now Billy, you currently ride a Hornet, don't you?
That's right.
So what are you looking for today?
Sport 600,
Right.
I think. Yeah, I've been looking at insurance, and the litre bikes are just out of my range really, and I think 600's enough.
Okay.
Fast and fun.
Right. So what kind of budget do you have?
Between about 4 and 5 grand.
All right, that's not bad, yeah. And what do you use your bike for?
Fun riding. Like I
Right.
say, I just like to go out on a Sunday with my housemate and
Right.
go and tear it up really.
You sound like a demon. I'm getting a bit worried now. Well, we've got
It's okay.
very, very stylish bikes for you today. We don't have the weather, but we do have some great bikes. We've got the Ducati 748. What do you think to that?
It's very pretty, very nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to riding
Quite
it.
sleek. Looks a bit mean though, doesn't it?
It looks mean, doesn't look very comfortable, but
Yeah, exactly. Well, it blows your budget, to be fair.
Yeah,
I'm being a
pricey.
bit of a temptress here because it's actually 7 grand. So, you know.
temptation is a bad thing.
Exactly. That's it. The ZX6R. What do you think to that?
Nice. I've heard a lot about ZX6Rs. I think comfort, it's going to be more comfortable than the Ducati.
Yeah, yeah. Big heavy bike, aren't they? They look quite heavy.
Yeah, fairly heavy.
Yeah.
I think it's going to suit my riding style a bit better, certainly than the Ducati anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's
a
the
bit racy.
top end of your budget. That's 4.9 for that.
Okay.
And then, last but by no means least, the Thundercat. What do you think to that?
Yeah, probably going to be the most comfortable of the three to ride.
Yeah,
Heard a
'cause
bit about them.
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, they're kind of, although they are in the sports category, aren't they? They're not what people would class as the same as the ZX6, particularly. It's a bit softer.
Bit softer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to expect from the Thundercat.
Right, brilliant. Well, before we let you loose, which I'm a bit wary of with that look in your eye, we're going to go to Richard, who's going to give you a recap.
Nice.
Well, Billy, you said you didn't want something that would be difficult to insure. So how about a Yamaha Thundercat? 600cc, a very usable power from the 4-cylinder motor, and a riding position that shouldn't give you too many problems over those long distances. It's been around since '96, and although it does have a reputation for being a slightly softer option as far as sports bikes are concerned, owners will tell you that they're every bit as capable in the right hands. This model is an R-Edge from '97 with slightly above average mileage of close on 20,000 miles, but it is in showroom condition and has a price tag of 3,700 quid. And we just couldn't resist letting you loose on Kawasaki ZX6R. The reputation of this ninja speaks for itself. Sharp handling, great performance and true sports bike looks. '95 saw the first ZX6 Ninjas arriving in showrooms, and they've sold like hotcakes ever since. We managed to find this year 2000 bike on a wide plate, which is showing just over 9,000 miles. Again, it's slightly above average mileage, but once again, it is in perfect condition. It has a data tool immobiliser system fitted, and it's yours today for 4,900 quid. Last but not least, how about a piece of Italian exotica in the shape of a Ducati 748 SPS? There's not much we can say that hasn't already been said about that shape and style of this machine. It is a true biking icon. The 90-degree Desmo motor kicks out a healthy 105 bhp, and it has that addictive rumble that only a V-twin can provide. The SPS model was actually discontinued at the end of '99, but our example this week comes from '97. It's on an R plate, it's showing just 8,000 miles, and it's fitted with a Meta alarm system. Yellow is the only colour available on the SPS, and although it is a little out of your budget, we think you may just be tempted by the 7 grand price tag.
So that was Richard there with a few facts and figures. We're going to set you off on the Thundercat. Have you ever been on one of these before?
I've never ridden a Thundercat before, no.
Right, are you excited?
Quite, yes.
Are you going to behave?
I promise, yes, I will behave.
I don't believe a word you say, but never mind. The keys are in it. If you get kitted up, and tell us what you think.
Thank you very much.
So while Billy's playing on the Thundercat, here's Richard with this week's used bike review.
Okay, so some bits of biking are about going as quickly as you possibly can, and that's great, really exciting. But then other bits, it's just a lifestyle thing. It's about the food and the drink and kicking back and taking it easy. Et voila! I mean, look at the thing, based around sofa levels of comfort. It's the Yamaha Xvz 1300, or Royal Star. Royal Star. Even the name is over the top, and at 1300cc, so's the engine. It's the bigger brother, of course, to the Yamaha Dragstar, but whereas that is dreadful, this is, well, you've got to admit, it's got presence, covered in enough chrome to coat a cruise ship. It's so big, I don't know whether to start it with a button or smash a bottle of champagne against it and launch it. That big. Now let's rock. Actually, to say it's the older and bigger brother of the Dragstar isn't strictly true. Whereas the smaller bike is a V-twin, this is a V4, which makes it pretty much unique. And the Royal Star is a rare sight. They don't make them anymore, and when they were new, they cost over 11 grand, which explained why they stayed pretty rare. Widely regarded to be a pretty well-engineered bike, especially for a cruiser, this is one custom bike that maybe you could just use a bit. If you've never done this, ridden a bike laid back with your feet out in front of you and your arms in the air, can I suggest you just give it a go? It is so different to riding along with your chin on the floor and your backside in the air on a sports bike. Somehow the world just ticks along. The red mist doesn't come down, you don't get involved in racing, you merely wave people past and enjoy the view. This is a very different type of biking, but it is still biking. Despite its massive bulk, it's actually very easy to ride and handle. The centre of gravity is low, as is the seat height, which means even somebody a little stumpier like me can handle the thing, slowly, stationary and on the move. Like you probably, I've been riding and been around bikes all of my life. I've owned dozens of them, all sports bikes. And throughout that life, I have laughed at customs and cruisers. They're big, they're fat, they're slow, they're lazy, they're bought by old men, and you have to clean them every time you take them out. Well now, at this stage in my life, I'd like to say something and I'd like to share it with you. My name is Richard Hammond, and I'd like a cruiser.
Welcome back. Well, Billy is back with the Thundercat, I'm pleased to say, and it's in one piece, and so are you. What did you think?
Nice, yeah, it was very big when I first sat on it, and heard sort of mixed reviews about the bike, but it seems to have enough power.
Yeah. About handling.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for a big bike, or big feeling bike, it seems to handle quite nicely, but my main hang-up really was the brakes, and whether it's this particular bike or not, I don't know, but I couldn't stop.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, really, isn't it?
I mean, I could, but I found myself squeezing the lever really hard. And
I think you'll find it's probably this bike, because they're the same brakes. They're renowned for the brakes, usually, these, and they're the same brakes as the R1, so it's probably this bike.
Should be stopping there.
Yeah, yeah, it should be. So don't let that put you off.
I won't, okay.
No, yeah, because we could obviously get that fixed for you.
Still enthusiastic.
Yeah. So power?
Seems to have enough power, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I haven't really got anything to compare it to yet, but...
Well, I mean, it's a 600 engine. You are used to a 600 engine. Is there much difference to the Hornet?
I don't know. I think it's probably got more at the top end than the Hornet.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't really take it too far.
No.
On the roads,
I'm really glad about that. Well, I mean, that's great. I mean, this is £3,700, so we're well within your budget. Does that make a difference to you at this point?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah?
I'm not overly keen, but I could warm to it price-wise. Yeah.
OK, well, let's move you on then, because we're now going to let you loose on the ZX6R, which is a nice, big, chunky bike, I reckon, as I said before. Have you ever ridden one of these? No,
I've ridden the 9.
Right. Oh, OK. So, we'll have to see what you think in comparison to that. OK. Yeah. So what do you think of the looks of it?
It looks nice. I've always liked the ZX6.
Yeah.
It looks nice, and I think it'll...
It's got that traditional sports feel about it, hasn't it, this bike?
Yeah, nicer in pea green, but red will do for today.
Yeah, and it doesn't go with your outfit either.
No.
No. New leathers.
New leather's new bike, yeah.
Well, the keys are in it. If you want to have a go, come back and tell us what you think.
Thank you.
OK? So while Billy is giving the ZX6 a spin, here's Gazza in his workshop.
Now then, if you've been watching over the last few weeks, you'll know that we've been talking about interchangeability between models of the same manufacturer. This, as you probably can gather, is a 1998 RRW Fireblade, but it's had one or two things done to it that makes it slightly different. So I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll put it in the workshop, get it up on the ramp and take a closer look at it. Let's start at the front end and we'll take a look what's actually been fitted. Well, as I said earlier, for those of you who know about Fireblades, this is a 1998 RRW model. And for those of you who are in the know, you'll know that they didn't come with upside down forks. So these are obviously taken from another bike. They are taken from the RRY. As a complete unit, both forks, front mudguard, disc calipers, even right the way up to the top, handlebars and all the switchgear as well. You'll also notice that we've changed the indicator for a nice small one. One of the other advantages of using the RRY front end, not only does it give you the upside down forks, it also gets rid of that horrible 16-inch front wheel that they fitted on earlier blades. You've got a nice 17-inch front wheel. So that's more or less the front end complete. Let's move down the bike and we'll look at something else. Well, as you can see here, we've replaced the original alloy footrest hanger with a nice carbon trick bit there and also the heel plate as well. The actual footrest itself is taken from the RRY. Moving further up as well, you've got some nice braided hoses with some anodised coloured ends on them.
Well, that's it for part one. Join us in part two when we're going to try and get Billy to blow his budget by letting him have a go on this, the Ducati 748. See you then. Welcome back to Used Bike Heaven. Now, if you were with us before the break, you'll know we're with Billy from Bristol, who's looking for something a little bit sporty. So we sent him out on the Thundercat. He thought that was okay, but he didn't have anything to compare it to, so then we let him loose on the ZX6R. And in a minute, he's going to be going on the Ducati. But before he does, I think we should find out what he thinks to the Kawasaki. Billy, what did you think to the ZX6R?
Yeah, Billy from Bristol likes the ZX6R.
Yeah, Billy from Bristol's got a massive smile on his face at last.
He's still shaking a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, I knew I'd like it, but...
What did you like about it?
It's more aggressive, your riding style's a bit more aggressive and it seems to have a bit more than the Thundercat in pace.
Yeah.
And the brakes were awesome.
Which helps.
And you can throw it about and it's just generally felt like a lot nicer bike to ride.
Did it feel a lot more powerful than this?
Not a lot more, no. But
no.
I think I could tell the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, also confidence in brakes as well might probably help you.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with the brakes on the Cat at all.
So did you feel that the riding position was longer on this slightly, or...?
I don't know whether... It probably was a bit longer when you sat back into the seat and I think your bum's a bit higher.
Yeah.
And your arms are down a bit lower.
Yeah. So is there anything you didn't like?
I didn't like the... Well, I said before I went out I didn't like the colour. I still didn't like looking down and seeing red fairing. I'd rather have pea green.
You're a traditional Kawasaki green man.
And it's not as noisy as I'd like it to be either, I think.
So...
I think a race can on the back.
Yeah.
Road legal.
Yes, of course.
Would just about sort that out, yeah.
Yeah. Right, OK, well, I mean, you know, you can't decide yet because over here is the Ducati, which I gathered you've probably spotted.
Yeah, I saw that out the corner of my eye.
Yes. Well, what do you think to this looks-wise?
Yeah, it's a very pretty looking motorbike. It's Italian.
Yeah. Well, they are renowned for the style, aren't they?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to riding this one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Now, it's a V-twin. Have you got much experience with V-twins?
Not much at all, no.
Right. OK, well, that's going to be good then, to know what you think to that.
Yeah.
So, if you want to get your helmet on and stuff, and tell us what you think.
Thank you.
All right, then. So while we're trying to tempt Billy with the Ducati, here's Richard with this week's advice if you're thinking of dabbling in the used bike market.
Okay, so here's how it goes in an ideal world. You do your research, you find the right bike, you buy it from a reputable high street dealer, you take it home, the world's your oyster, everybody's happy. And that's how it works out, usually. That is, usually. Sometimes, of course, you buy your dream machine, you take off down the road, and a week later the engine turns itself inside out. This is bad, but it needn't be the end of the world. If you've bought it from a dealer, then the odds are they'll just put the fault right straight away, no quibbles. Remember, they would far rather put it right than give you a refund. If, though, you can prove that the fault was there when they sold you the bike and they didn't tell you, then you can get a refund, but you've got to prove it. In fact, the law says you are entitled to a refund as well if the fault is pretty major and happens within the first couple of weeks. But the dealer is given the chance to put it right first. If you try all of this and you get stonewalled, no results, then it's time to dig out the typewriter and write them a letter. Remember, this letter could be evidence used in court at a later date if it gets that far. So include all the details of the bike, what you paid, when you bought it, what your complaint is, and remember to give them an idea of what you want them to do. Be firm, but be polite. Don't go getting all steamed up and nasty, because you are going to look a right prawn when it's read out in court later on. Of course, if you bought your bike privately, you are on a bit of a stickier wicket. Basically, to stand a chance of getting your money back, you've got to be able to prove that the guy selling it to you deliberately misled you. They knew about the fault and misled you. In other words, it's got to be written in their advert. Otherwise, it's just your word against theirs. Taking a mate with you when you buy the bike to be a witness could help, but it's still looking dodgy. To be honest, your best bet here is to be realistic. You're not going to get all your money back. You're not going to get the whole of the repairs paid for by the guy who sold you the bike. But if you write them a nice letter threatening pretty serious legal action against them if they don't do something, you might find they're prepared to compromise.
As you can see, Billy's arrived back with the Ducati. Now, it's way over budget as we know, but it's got the looks, it's undoubtedly got the performance. I think he may be tempted. Let's find out. Oh, look at the smile. What did you think?
Very nice.
Really?
Yeah, it's very aggressive. I like the V-twin. You just have to remember to change gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the bike.
Now, it's a lot harder ride, and I find quite uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable,
yeah?
Yes.
But you don't mind because of the power?
Not really. The power and the looks and everything that goes with it. It's great. I mean, it's slow. Doesn't handle particularly well when you're going slowly, but
yeah, well,
once you get a bit of speed up, once you get up to 60 miles an hour, it's fine.
Yeah. Now there is one problem with this bike that I can tell you. It's £2,000 over your budget. It's £7,000. Is that a problem?
A little bit, but it's probably worth it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, like most things Italian, it's going to be expensive, but look at it.
Well, that's it.
Great.
It's just so stylish.
It rides good as well.
Yeah, if it's what you want, you've got to do it.
But yeah, I have to speak to the bank manager.
Absolutely. Right, well, I don't know if you can remember as far back as the Thundercat. I don't know if you want to. Good and bad points.
Good, yes. It had a bit of power to it, and it was comfortable, but I didn't like the brakes on it. But like we said, that's sort of bike specific, probably.
Yeah.
Just not my thing, really.
Really?
Yeah, you know.
Okay. Well, all right then. ZX6R.
ZX6R was more. Yeah, I'm keen on that.
Good point.
Price-wise, good point.
Yeah.
It accelerates hard. It brakes well. It's good positioned. You know, quite comfortable, but still aggressive.
It's got the performance.
Got
the
the performance. Yeah.
So everything that you're looking for, really, in
just cosmetics, really. The colour and the exhaust.
Of course, right. And we know what you think to the Ducati.
Yeah.
We know you like that, because we can tell. You don't even have to actually say anything, we can tell. So we're going to need to know which one you're going to go for, but don't tell us just yet, because we're going to go to Richard, who's going to give us a little reminder.
Well, Billy, it's decision time. Will you pick Yamaha's Thundercat? Not only is it the cheapest of our three bikes at £3,700, but it's also the cheapest to insure, which is certainly a very important consideration for anyone in their mid-20s. Or do you prefer the more sporty looks and sharper performance of Kawasaki ZX6R? If street cred is high on your list of priorities, then you'll have no problem with this Ninja, but you will need to part with £4,900. Or will you fall for the drop-dead gorgeous looks of Ducati's 748 SPS? It most certainly fits the bill as far as looks and performance go, but there is a little matter of finding £7,000 before you can go home with this Italian beauty.
So Billy, what have you decided upon?
Well, Fran, I've decided to go for the ZX6R.
Right, OK. I'm shocked. Why?
Well, Ducati's expensive. I feel it might be a little bit like having an Italian girlfriend. In that she's very pretty, but at the end of the day, she's going to cost me money. So
high maintenance.
Yeah, high maintenance.
Okay.
Not totally reliable. It would be a worry, and I can't afford that. So I think the Kawasaki overall does it for me because, it's not going to go wrong, and it's got everything else that I need.
It definitely
It's a shame.
has.
I mean, if you can give me some more money, I'll get the Ducati.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm skint at the moment. Well, thank you for coming in today.
Well, that's all right, thank you.
Well, seems like the Ducati's going begging. I think I might go and speak to my bank manager instead. See you next week for some more used bike heaven. I am surprised, actually. I thought you were going to go for that.
I nearly did.
Yeah, I can see. You've got that demon look in your eye.
Next week on Used Bike Heaven, Noel Fletcher is on the search for something with that off-road look. We'll dig up something funky and chunky to satisfy him. And we'll have another used bike review and more workshop tips from Gary.